Hang on, reset. You're gonna walk down here. When you get to the end of the red carpet, that's when you go, come on, bitch. And you turn around and you start walking, not too fast, okay?
I really wanted this to come alive and give you this, this feeling of change and opportunity and excitement and energy.
And crane up, all right?
And the change that's going on in New York City at the time.
I think that the look that Michelle set up for the pilot was absolutely gorgeous. I mean, it reminded me a lot of Taxi Driver and Scorsese, and I mean, it just had all that gritty feel of 42nd Street, which nobody who goes there now will have any idea that that existed before.
For me, as an actor and director, I just thought New York in the 70s. All my favorite movies are, New York in the 70s. What could be better?
Okay.
It was exciting to bookend these 8 episodes, to see, how these characters had evolved. And I'm going to credit David, Simon, and George Pelecanos for this, because when I read the finale, I was so excited, because I realized that these guys had written to bookending the pilot and the finale. And with Bernice walking down that hallway, the empty hallway like we saw in the pilot, I knew right away, oh, I'm going to do the same shot, pull back down the hallway. And I wanted to time it so that we hear Bernice, she comes out, she goes into the other room, and the whole time the camera's just pulling back, and then she goes back into her room. We hear her talking to the John, and life goes on. And what we don't see in front of us, we know is happening, and we need to be aware. James Franco, Maggie Gyllenhaal, all the lead actors set such a wonderful tone with being bold and brave and embracing these characters. I really love the moment when Candy is in the taxi and she's on her way to the premiere, and she's driving by down 42nd Street. She's driving by her old haunt, and she's moved on. She's not in the street anymore, and she sees Thunder Thighs.
Hey, Ruby. Hey, Ruby.
She, for a moment, thinks that she can connect with her.
You want to get out here, lady?
And she realizes that's a life that she's moved on from. Maggie's brilliant, and you see there's so many emotions in that moment. David and George write really layered scenes, and there's so many different stories that can go on in any one particular scene, and you got to make sure that you cover each of those moments, and that we understand Candy's story in that moment, we understand Laurie and Cece's story in that moment, and then we understand what's going on, what's the bigger picture. To me, that makes it really fun and exciting and very much about the Deuce.
And action.
So for Vincent, while I'm Vincent, that whole special shot. Then I'll come over here. By playing twins, I sort of get to do everything as an actor.
Luckiest fucker alive.
The way I think about directing is, I'm thinking about all the characters. How are all the characters interacting, and what are their functions in the scene? There are lots of researchers and consultants on the show, and for every aspect of the show, just to give that journalistic realism to everything. There is a mob consultant for all the mob scenes. There's a police consultant. Then there's the consultant that knew about the gay scene in the village. In one of my episodes, there's a screening of Boys in the Sand, which is a real movie. One of the first, I think, gay porn films.
Couldn't there be just one girl in the sand?
And there was a porn consultant. I shot some fake porn scenes.
We're rolling.
Mainly for those, I was given a bunch of old movies from, the 70s.
Holy hell.
Yep.
Michelle McLaren directed the pilot, and now she's here doing the finale. And so we've talked about our approaches to directing the show and, just whatever, trading stories. And one thing she always said is, I'm always looking for what, interesting ways to shoot it and all of that, but with this show, I know I can always fall back on the writing and the actors. Like, those things are always strong with this show. And so, if we're running out of time or whatever, all I have to do is just tell the story that's being told there and just capture the performances and the dialogue, and that's what's so strong about this show. It's a real unique look at a time and place, and I think we've really done something amazing in capturing that.
At least you're in the movies now. You're not selling ass out there in the trenches. You're an entertainer, Miss Merrill.
All right. Adriana, you ready?
I think what's interesting is that we are naturally voyeuristic, and I think to be able to literally pull the curtains back and see what happens behind the scene of these pornographic films that are supposed to arouse you, and to see how raw and unsexy it is, really.
Yeah, enough.
We did an actual pornography shoot, and I think I had to learn from day one that I needed to be very comfortable with all of this, because the actors would not be if I wasn't. You have to not be afraid of just saying what you need from the scene. And that, in a way, relaxes everybody, because it gets down to choreography, and not about the sex.
Cece, baby, you pay for the fuck or the hour, not both.
Oh, what, you my fucking business manager now? Stay out of my shit.
But I think the more we make it about the business of it and the choreography, the audience feels that as well and can understand that it's not about sensuality.
Paid in full.
And then, of course, the opening of the parlor, the French parlor.
If I'm in trouble, you can put up Fort Knox. You'll still hear me.
I think what I wanted to say there was that in each of these individual rooms in that parlor, there were lives that were happening. One of the shots that I did was feeling Darlene in the center of all this, and these walls where all of this stuff is happening, and to feel her isolation and how alone one feels, even though you're surrounded by other people. Your heart just went out to her, and you really felt what it's like to be in that position. To see what went under, the human cost of all of that, is really, it's exciting to be able to be a part of that, to sort of let that live and let us now examine it, years later and see, where did that go and how does that inform us about ourselves?